Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. One,
One, two,
two, three.
three.
To
To grow.
Grom. Got some ice in that one.
Nice.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, baby. How are you?
I'm fine as frog hair.
I love how you said it. How apropos for tonight's session.
Indeed. Very appropriate. Hello everyone, and welcome to the White Tower. I'm Jess, your Emerald Seat.
And I'm Jen, your keeper of the chronicles.
Yeah, she is. So let's talk weather bullshit. We haven't been on our weather bullshit for a while. There really hasn't been a lot to talk about.
There hasn't been a lot to talk about here except that it was raining, pouring. The old man is snoring. Anyway, so it just started pouring down at my house. It's been lightning crash and thunder flash. But that's another
Did it
story.
happen
Never
again?
mind. And I'm playing. No, I'm just saying.
Greetings. This is your Emerald Seat coming to you live with news of some major weather bullshit in Florida fucking with our recording. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
Okay, now you're back.
Okay, you were gone for me, so okay. It was pouring at your house. It was pouring forever.
Yeah, that's it. That's all the
Okay.
weather bullshit.
Okay. It got hot here.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it's in the 80s up to
Ooh,
90s.
that's really hot for you guys.
Yeah, it sucks, and we all hate it,
Yeah.
except for the people who are weird.
Yeah, fuck those
And
people.
then, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And then yesterday, which is Saturday, we had Shake the Lake, which is the big fireworks thing the weekend of
yeah.
or before 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
And then today we actually have like a huge thunderstorm, like a huge one. Like it thundered for a really long time, like kind of like multiple hours thundering, which was like fun.
Yeah.
Love it. This is great. I love
It's
everything
normal
about
here. Yeah.
it. Totally cool.
The dogs probably are not cool with that.
Zoe doesn't give a fuck. She was sitting in her bay window like whatevs. But Simon was not excited. He actually cuddled with Rich this time.
Oh.
And was just generally not excited about his life. So yeah, it's been fucking hot. And if anybody knows a solution to this, I lived in a 2-story house prior to this as well. Nice and cool downstairs, stuffy and gross upstairs. All of the vents are closed downstairs. So theoretically speaking, the cold air should be going upstairs. And I understand that heat rises, but like we're talking a multiple degrees difference between the upstairs and the downstairs. Like downstairs, I'm wearing a hoodie and slippers. Upstairs, I'm like, oh my God, I need to take more clothes off because this is untenable. So like, I don't know what, I'm like, okay, do we need to get 3M film to put over the registers so that we don't have cold air like leaking out, or what do we need to do here? Because fuck.
I am the last person to give advice on that, but I will say something that I saw on Twitter today, and I retweeted on my personal Twitter that has to kind of not kind of do with weather bullshit, but just talking about the difference between Wisconsin and Florida. Somebody said that people use their hand to describe the shape of Michigan.
Yes.
And people from Florida just whip out their dick. And I'm like, and I said,
that's
daily.
on brand. That is on brand for Florida, I feel like.
I'm like, actually, yes. So there is I don't know if this was a manufactured tale or not, but I hardly go on Facebook anymore. I think we've talked about this. Like
Yeah, fuck
Facebook is
Facebook.
just like a cesspool.
Yeah.
But there was something that I saw today about, there was a quote unquote police report about a woman that had a bag of meth in her purse, and she said that she blamed it on the wind. It was a windy day, and it must have just floated into her purse. The cops found a bag of meth in there.
I mean,
So
Points for creativity.
so I'm like, it was Polk County, which is just a kind of a seedy place here in Florida. So I'm like, yeah, well, the only thing that makes sense about this is it's from Polk County. So that's kind of fun. So what are you guys doing for 4th of July?
Probably nothing. As of this moment, my parents and my sister have not made any overtures vis-a-vis some kind of family gathering. Now, that does not mean that it will not be forthcoming.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, we have no plans, which means that we'll be sitting around at home and enjoying our day off.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's a blessing.
Yeah. That's kind of my favorite thing to do on holidays.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm basically a hermit, so there's that.
Me too. So Chris's birthday.
My house is nice.
6th.
All my stuff is here. My dogs are here.
Yeah,
I don't have to wear pants. Like, my house is awesome.
When you go outside here, it's like blinding ass hot. Like sometimes I'll think about trying to take a picture of the temperature outside when I get into my car after it's been sitting all day, because on the concrete or whatever from work and you getting into it, and the gauge, it reads like 107 degrees now, and has been the past couple days, and I'm just like, yes,
yeah,
it's like just started summer. It's going to get even hotter.
Yeah.
I've seen it say 120 before, 115, 120.
We get that too. While I went to the salon, Rich actually came along and he sat in a coffee house a couple blocks away and just like read and stuff. And after it was done, we went to the restaurant that's next door to my salon called Alchemy. It was very good. But our car was parked kind of out front and the sun was shining in the windshield. And it was already hot and humid outside. It was really humid. And then we opened the car doors and we're like, fuck. We're glad we don't have leather seats. This is bullshit. It was very warm inside the car. So you said something about Chris's birthday?
Yeah, it's on July 6th. So
are you guys doing anything?
I don't know, but it's his 40th. So it's kind of like how you had your 40th. It's a big one for him.
It's a big day.
Obviously we're both off. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll probably go somewhere. I don't know, but it's going to
find out where the old people have lunch and go do that.
You get your Happy Meal, or not Happy Meal.
Your senior discount.
Yeah, what do you call it when you eat dinner early? Early bird.
Yeah, get your early bird special. You eat at like 3:30 because you go to bed at 6.
Yeah. That's already us. That's literally already us. I'm way past my bedtime, guys, recording this. Way past my bedtime.
Oh, God. The last few nights, my sleep cycle has been, the last couple weeks, my sleep cycle has been fucked. I've been going to bed at, 1 or 2 o'clock. I'm like, I need to get my shit together. I can't be doing this.
Yeah, especially if you want to start getting up to exercise in the morning again.
Yeah, I was doing really well with it, actually, until, I had to, I had that day, if you remember, where I actually had to be available at work at 2 a.m. because I was doing social media coverage for
Singapore or something?
For London. And so I was doing remote social media coverage. So, they started at 8 a.m., which is 2 a.m. my time. So I had to be on by then. And then that just sort of, it started the cascade and then the whole mental health thing, and now I'm just fucking jacked. But I think I'm gonna force myself out of bed tomorrow to do a fitness because there's 60 days until Dragon Con, and I gotta. Was that thunder?
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I did.
That's how bad it is right now.
Holy shit.
It's pouring down right here, so
that is fucking crazy.
I didn't know. That's cool. Anyway, I was like, it's probably interfering with the feed. I mean, this huge storm's all right above us. So.
Oh man, well hopefully it passes before too long.
Yeah.
So as most of you know, this is a podcast about Robert Jordan's epic fantasy series, Wheel of Time. Maybe we should talk about that.
You want to talk about all the work that you did today? All the stuff that people can... guys, She was on her bullshit today. Y'all have no idea.
I really was. I felt like the morning I spent just like chilling out. I dicked around on the internet and I played Stardew Valley.
As we do.
And
how are you liking that still?
It's really fun. I'm kind of addicted to it.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. Then this afternoon, I did my I actually did my reading for the show while I was at the salon. So basically, when my hair was cooking, I read the chapters. And then today, I did my show prep, and then I edited our Patreon episode, the episode that we do for our $10 patrons, the Aes Sedai level. It is called the 13th Depository, and that's basically our spoilers out episode where we talk about everything. Yeah. The topic this month, it comes out once a month. The topic this time was warders. So we talked about the warder bond and all that. So I got that edited. It's like an hour and 45 minutes long. I did not take anything out. It was all solid gold. It was so fucking funny. That's and by the end, we went like off the rails so bad. You were trying to wrap things up, and I was just like, wait, no, we need to talk about this other thing. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? It was very, very good. So that was a lot of fun. I was like doing other stuff that didn't require me listening to stuff while I was listening through it, and it was very good. So support us on Patreon, the Aes Sedai level, $10 a month, and you can get that amazing episode. And you're welcome.
It's actually really, really fun.
Oh, that was a really fun episode.
We were off the rails.
Yeah, we were.
There's already like, how many hours would you say we already have uploaded there between our, because on Patreon we put up every single episode that you're listening to now. We have a pre and a post, mostly pre session that's sometimes very, very long before we actually even start recording this. And then you guys get your own episode on top of that. So there's hours and hours and hours of
I would say there are 4 13th Depository episodes up, and those are all, I want to say they're all an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So there's that. So we're talking, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours of content there. Plus, some of the pre and post chatter episodes we call Saladar After Dark. And those vary in length depending on how much we're on our bullshit. So some of them are actually quite short, like 8 to 10 minutes. Other ones are longer. They're like 30 minutes long, depending on what we're yapping about. So, and I'll also take, like, if there are moments in the middle of recording where, like, shit goes wild, and we're like, okay, that cannot go in the main show. We fucked up, or this is really, even for us, it's like not really appropriate.
Yeah, it's like serious sex talk or outtakes or something.
Like, we had one where we, like, went into detail about sex stuff, and I was like, okay, this is not for general audiences. I will consider putting it in Saladar After Dark. I have to listen to it again. But I kind of put all that stuff together into those episodes. And those are just a lot of fun because it's just a lot of the silly chatter. Because really, every time we sit down to talk, it's kind of like when we first start, it's like Jen and I just sort of catching up like we're talking on the phone, just being like, hey, how are you doing? What's going on?
What's going on? Because we're friends. Oh,
yeah.
Guys,
we are. It's weird.
We're actually friends.
We like each other and everything.
Fucking wild, that shit.
So, anyway, this honestly, it's not so much a plug about Patreon, just sort of like, there's really fun stuff up there, and I'm proud of what we're doing. So, I got the big Patreon bonus episode, the 13th Depository done. And while I was doing that, I came up with an idea so we have the $1 tier on Patreon where you get access to the Patreon only Discord stuff. And then you basically get your name in the Book of Novices, and everybody who is a supporter gets that. And we have like a special little graphic that I made that your name goes in there and everything. And then I go into Instagram and I put like a fun filter and an animated sticker. And then it goes into our Instagram story. And then I put it in the highlight. So there's actually a highlight in our Instagram story for the Book of Novices. And I was thinking, okay, I want to do something that's more fun and kind of more visible, because not everybody's on Instagram, and there are people who are on Instagram who don't live the Instagram story life.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, what's a way that we can make this more visible? And I thought, okay, I'm going to make a slideshow. So I made a slideshow of those images, and it's animated. It's the animated images, so the
Right.
the thank yous are animated and everything. And I got new music for it. I found it
Cute,
on
guys.
Audio Jungle.
I
That's our
really like
go-to
your
for
music.
music.
That is where we get our music, guys. We are
Hmm.
just shamelessly plugging. They don't pay us. We're just saying.
No, we pay them.
We
I've
pay
given them a fair amount of money since we
Yeah.
started this because we
Yeah.
have now 3 theme songs. I bought bleep sound effects from them a while back, and now we have another song that's going to go underneath those slideshows. So I put that together while I was listening to the Patreon episode and kind of doing edits as I went. So I got that done, and I got it exported, and I uploaded it to YouTube. And gosh, what else did I do?
Our Patreon video.
Yeah, Jen and I decided that we were going to do an introduction video to put on our main Patreon page. So basically, we have our written introduction, and then we do a video introduction. And it's basically pretty much just like the bullshit that we do here. Like, we get a little off topic from time to time. But
Yeah.
we still kept it to like a tight 3 minutes, so that's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
Not too bad. So, yeah, so I got that edited and got it put together so that Jen could look at it. Did you get the link that I sent you?
I did. I looked at it, but I have not been as productive. Well, I have been productive, but just doing other things.
Okay.
I actually have some time off next week because of the 4th of July holiday and everything.
Yes.
I will kind of let you know. We'll get it up this week for sure, guys. We'll
Yeah,
get it
I
up.
just want to I want to make sure that you're happy with it because we can always re-record if you want to or whatever. So
I think I'm pretty happy with it, but I just gotta look.
I feel
at it
like
again.
it's very on brand for us.
It's
so
so on brand.
Like,
It's like
extremely
please
on
give
brand.
us money. We're 2 bitches that don't know what the fuck we're doing. Come
we're,
on.
We're idiots.
We're
Give us money.
basically just like Slav squatting outside of a fucking. You saw it? Yeah, I remember that. I'm gonna bring that shit back up. I remember
no.
teaching you that. Outside of a store, going lonely and impoverished. Two nerds that like to read. Donate to a good cause.
Donate to a good cause. Yes.
That's us. Come on.
So
fuck off.
yeah, and then we throw other little pictures. We threw some Jordan Con photos up there and just general silly stuff from when we're recording and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's fun. I hope people like it. So yeah, there's that. And so really that's kind of what I was focusing on today, this afternoon. So it was very productive. I got a lot of points in Habitica for getting that shit done. So more weather bullshit. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Welcome back.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's not your fault. You can't control the weather, as far as I know.
Yeah.
You never know. You could have a weather dominator and you're just fucking with me.
I'm fucking. Why do you think I like weather bullshit so much?
Because you're fucking weather dominator. God damn it.
Damn it! I'm Storm.
Yeah. That'd be fucking awesome. I'd be so proud of you.
She's like one of the best X-Men. Like, I fucking love Storm. Are you kidding me?
I am not super familiar with X-Men. I know, if I see somebody dressed up as Cyclops, I know that, but I don't actually know anything about it.
I don't even. Okay, I'm not a comic book nerd. I don't like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sorry, everybody. But before they started making these movies, for the very first X-Men, I like the cartoon X-Men that was back on in the day with the yellow jumpsuits.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate what they've done with it. And they made it the Wolverine show. Okay, I know all y'all are Hugh Jackman fans. I know, I understand that. I get it. But I don't really care about the Wolverine show. I like the X-Men, the concept of that. So
it seems like it's been a while since, and I mean, bear in mind that I'm talking out of my ass here. I don't actually know, but it does seem a little bit like they've been really focusing on the sort of big name celebrity.
yeah,
Sansa, the woman who played Sansa, God, I can't,
Jean Grey, Sophie Turner.
Yeah, she did a Phoenix.
She's
movie.
Yeah, she's the Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came out and
So-
is tanked. It has been really, really bad.
That sucks.
No one went and seen it. I don't think they've made even budget yet. It's very bad.
That sucks because I mean the previews that I saw of it looked really cool, and I think Sophie
Yeah,
Turner is
no
cool,
one's
but that. God damn.
That's what I'm talking about.
Are
That's
you
why it
gonna
keeps going
die?
on. This is Florida.
Fuck.
It's fine.
Okay, so let's go ahead now that we're like, I think 15 minutes into the show.
Do you want to do the
Should we start
actual
about
Wheel of Time?
like Wheel of Time?
Yeah,
think?
let's do it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So my synapses this week is on chapter 16 of The Great Hunt, In the Mirror of Darkness. Dun, dun, dun.
Lights up.
Lights up on Hurin, scolding Lord Rand for keeping watch all night because if Rand wears himself out for Hurin and Loyal's sake, who's going to get them home? It's barely dawn and the fog from the night before is gone. Rand is like, it's cool, I needed to think. Nothing around them indicates that anything had gone down with Fog or Baalzamon. The only thing that let Rand know that it was real is the heron branded into his palm, which he has wrapped in a handkerchief. Rand wants to bounce the fuck out of there, so he tells them to mount up and eat breakfast on the road. Loyal notices Rand's fucked up hand and asks what happened. Rand's like, I heard it? It's fine. Loyal offers to let him use a salve that he has in his bag, and Rand bites his head off about it. He feels bad, but he really doesn't want to have to answer the questions they'll have once they see the brand. And I mean, that's fair, but there are ways to be nice about it, you know?
Yeah.
And Loyal's like, okay, you grumpy fuck, and they head out. Rand watches the ground carefully. One would assume, even in a fucked up alternate reality, that a herd of Trollocs would leave some kind of mark on the ground as they pass, but they apparently don't. Even though their own passage leaves the expected marks, there's nothing ahead of them to indicate anyone else had passed. Rand doesn't seem to consider the possibility that it's because the Trollocs didn't actually go that way, but whatever. Hurin still has the trail, even though it's very faint, and he's on that shit like a boss. Loyal is talking to himself and rubbing his smooth staff, which is some very sensual imagery, RJ. Thank you. They haven't been on the road very long when Rand notices a spire up ahead, and he's like, what the fuck is that, do you reckon? And Loyal's like, IDK. And Hurin is like, if this were our world, that would be where Arthur Hawkwing's monument is, except that it doesn't exist anymore. Sue. Loyal's... Sue. Loyal's like, Ingtar said that it's like 4 days ahead of us, and even if it exists in this world, I don't see how it could since there aren't any people here. And Hurin's like, yeah, that's some shit, eh? No people, but no people, but there it is. I think we should steer clear. Rand's like, we need to stick to the trail as close as possible. I don't want to lose more time. Rand proceeds to explain his thought process, and Hurin's like, okay. And Rand realizes that Hurin doesn't need him to explain it. He just needs to be given an order. So Rand rolls his eyes internally and thinks, I didn't tell him I was a lord. And a little voice in his head says, yes, but you let him do it anyway, so suck it up. And he says, just follow the damn trail. And Hurin is all relieved like, oh, good. As they get closer to the spire, Rand can see that it's 100 spans high, which I did the math. That is 1,200 feet, or roughly the height of the Empire State Building.
Oh, wow.
It's big.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I think our audience is going to appreciate
that.
Yeah,
I hope so. I was like, okay, 1,200 feet. Then I was like, okay, I'm going to like Google skyscrapers that are 1,200 feet high. Because it's hard to visualize, right? So it also has a bird with outstretched wings on top. And Rand's like, hell yeah, it's Hawkwing's monument. Let's go look at it. Hurin, you can tell your kids about it. And Hurin's like, yeah, that's cool. And Loyal's like, Rand gallops toward the monument and the others follow. Loyal's hollering something at him, but he just laughs and they ride up to the spire. And when he gets a look at it, though, he's not laughing anymore. Hurin's like, this don't look right. And sure enough, the stuff carved into it are symbols of different Trolloc bands and a dead hawk with a raven pecking at its eyes. Loyal's like, bruh, I tried to tell you, the bird on top is a raven, not a hawk. And Rand's like, how in the fuck? Hawkwing won. And Loyal's like, not here, he didn't. And Loyal goes on to explain that based on what he's read, he figures that they're in a, quote, maybe world, a version of the pattern that could have happened but didn't. In this version, the Trollocs won and ate everybody and then possibly each other, and now everything is gone. Hurin thinks he sees a woman in a clump of trees about a mile away, but second guesses himself because everything in this world is so fucked up. Loyal's like, we also need to discuss the fact that we're already almost to Kinslayer's dagger. Kinslayer's Dagger is a mountain range that lies over 100 leagues south of the river Eridan, which they had just crossed before they got transported. They're all like, what the fuck? Because there's no way they could have covered that distance in 3 days. And Rand's like, maybe it's like the ways in here. And Hurin's like, fuck that. And Rand regrets saying it because Hurin gets rather upset about it.
Yeah, because it's fucking scary.
Well, yeah, the ways suck. Pretty much everybody knows that the ways are all fucked up with a thing in there that'll eat you or drive you crazy. Even Fades don't like to go in there. And Loyal's like, okay, so does that mean that the slightest misstep here can kill us like it can in the ways? We've been drinking water and just like fucking off like normal. Hurin gets all paranoid and is looking around like something's gonna come out of nowhere and eat him. And Rand's like, keep your shit together, Hurin. We just have to be careful from here on out. At that moment, they hear a scream. Hurin's like, it's a lady. And they hear another, more desperate scream. Rand figures it's coming from the south and they light out after it. They get to a stream and see that there's a woman and a horse next to the stream, and she's using a stick to fend off some fucked up looking creature that looks like a bear-sized frog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking, yeah.
Yeah. Rand jumps off his horse and gets his bow out. It's hard to judge the distance because the world is so wobbly, but it's a big target and he hits the creature in the side. It turns to look at them and it's got a huge wedge-shaped head and a hooked beak. I imagine it like it's a triceratops, and it's got 3 eyes and it comes right after him.
Oh, like a triceratops. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
How you did that.
Well, it's sort of because the way I imagine it is that it's got like a nose that kind of like goes to a point and then it's got the hook at the end. And triceratops have a setup like that. That's just kind of how I always imagine it. Like, I'm not saying this looks like a triceratops, but its beak is reminiscent of that. So, the woman, now strangely calm, shouts out that he needs to hit the creature in the eye. Rand seeks the void, even though he doesn't want to, because he knows that's the only way that he'll make the shot. He has a short moment of, aw, my daddy, and then shoots the fuck out of the creature and hits it right in the center eye, and it falls dead as fuck. The woman's like, good hustle, it's hard to kill a Grom, and she rides over. Rand is kind of surprised that she didn't run like hell as soon as she had a chance. The woman is in a white dress with the skirt divided for riding. She wears a silver belt and white boots tooled in silver, and just like the saddle on her white horse. Rand figures she's about Nynaeve's age, and he's pretty much captivated. She's tall, with pale skin and black hair and black eyes, and he knows a lot of pretty women, but this one is so pretty it makes him stupid. Like, really, literally stupid.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, like, he's like
fucking dumb. Just
he is. He's captivated by the pussy. That pussy has him by the nose.
Yeah,
it's just holding him.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Hurin and Loyal ride up, and Hurin is staring at the woman like a slack-jawed yokel, and even Loyal's like, "How you doing?" Rand introduces them and then himself, and Loyal gets weird and says, if there were such a thing as perfect human beauty, and Rand's like, dude, be cool for like a second, and everybody's embarrassed because they were all thinking the same thing. The woman laughs at them being idiots and then is all regal and shit. She says her name is Selene and says, you have risked your life and saved mine. I am yours, Lord Rand al'Thor. And then she kneels in front of him and Rand's like, no, what the fuck are you doing? Stand up. And he pulls her to her feet. And then he says, a man who will not die to save a woman is no man. And then I rolled my eyes so hard I flew into the sun and died, and you are talking to my ghost.
Yeah, because that's like, it's like, oh god, the damsel in distress. I'm like, okay,
just go fuck yourself. Seriously,
it's pretty bad. It's very bad. Actually.
I don't like it. So evidently, this is a Shienaran saying, and he realizes as he says it that he sounds like a pompous ass, but he can't stop himself, and he stutters for a bit and finally says, "It was my honor." She's watching him so intently that he feels naked, and then he thinks about her naked, and he blushes like crazy, the filthy boy, and is like, so where are you from? We haven't seen any other people. Is your village near here? And she's like, I'm from Cairhien, but I'm not from this world. There are no people here, just the Grom and other shitty creatures. I don't know how I got here. I was riding and stopped for a nap, and hey presto, here I was. Hopefully you can save me and get me home. Rand's like, please call me Rand, and thinks to himself, it won't hurt if I let her think I'm a lord. Of course I'll help you, but we have to find these other dudes first, he says. Selene doesn't answer for a bit, and her face is blank, and finally she's like, a man of duty, that's hot. Who are you following? Hurin, having absolutely zero chill, busts in at this point like, we're following Dark Friends and Trollocs. They fucked up Faldara and stole the Horn of Valyr, but Lord Rand will get it back. And Rand looks at him like, really, dude?
And Rand's like, bitch, what the
motherfucker?
fuck? You're telling her we're looking for the Horn of Valyr?
Yeah. Rand's just like, what the fuck, dude? And Hurin's like,
this is a secret, super secret boy band mission.
I mean, and he just fucks.
Literally.
Yeah, fucks the whole thing. And Hurin's like, shrug. Rand's like, okay.
I guess that's pussy power, because she could just get men to tell their whole life, like, deepest, darkest
whatever,
just by
like
existing.
I mean, is there really a woman that exists that's so hot that you would just like throw up,
blurt out everybody's business, not even yours, but like
everybody's, like just spill everybody's
the fate of the
tea.
World.
You just flood everything with everybody's tea. Like, fuck off. So Rand's like, okay, look, you can't tell anybody about the horn, but if you do, because if you do, we'll have a zillion people chasing after it. And Celene's like, oh yeah, we can't let the wrong folks get that. You know, I've always dreamed of holding it. When you find it, can I touch it? And Rand's like, well, we do have to find it first, so let's get going. And he and Hurin sort of fall all over themselves to help her mount her horse, and Rand's like, oh my god, her skin's so soft. Out loud, he says, whatever it was,
he gets weird about
like,
her skin,
seriously,
guys.
like, what do you want to?
He gets weird about her.
Like, do you want to wear her like a costume, dude? What the fuck?
It's like Ed Gein on her skin.
Ed Gein. He's from Wisconsin, you know.
Is he? Mm-hmm. The fuck?
Yeah, we have Ed Gein and Jeffrey Dahmer. So our our serial killer game is strong. So anyway.
The Gray Man. Go ahead.
Right. Out loud, he says, whatever it was I killed there might be more of them. And Celene's like, oh, there are. It takes a couple tries for Rand to get Hurin's attention because he's staring at Selene like a certified creep, but they finally get moving. Selene rides with Rand at first, and she asks him a lot of questions and keeps calling him Lord, and every time she does, he starts to tell her he's a shepherd, not a lord, but then he stops himself because she wouldn't talk to him the same way if she knew. She says that finding and sounding the horn will make him a great man, a legend, and Rand's like, I do not want to be part of any legend, and then thinks about how good she smells. Celene's like, every man wants to be great, and you could be the greatest ever, and Rand thinks that this sounds way too much like Moiraine, what Moiraine had said about him being the Dragon Reborn, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm good, I just want to find it and help out my friend. Selene sees that his hand is hurt, and he lets her unwrap the bandage for whatever reason, and she looks at it, and it's swollen and angry and painful, obviously, and the heron mark stands out really clearly, and she's like, I have some ointment, and she spreads it on, and it feels cold at first, but then warms up, and before he knows it, the swelling and redness are gone. Huh, that's weird.
All completely gone.
Interesting.
Is it, I think I read it in the book, like, it's like a week old, is what it comes to.
Yeah.
Like
it's
sadness on his palm, but like otherwise it's all the burning that he experienced is down. Like he's had it for a week and now it's just a scar.
Yeah. It's like basically all of the swelling and redness and pain that went with having something literally branded into your palm, gone. Interesting that an ointment is capable of doing that, don't you think?
Oh, God. You thought what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Selene talks about how some men seek greatness and others are forced, and that it's always better to seek it because if you're forced, you're dancing on the strings of whoever forced you. Rand's like, the fuck are you talking about? And she's like, the horn, duh. If you find it, you won't be able to avoid being fucking famous. You just have to decide whether you take it or if it's forced on you. And Rand's like, are you Aes Sedai? And she's like, yeah, no. And he's like, sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. And she's like, no offense taken, but fuck Aes Sedai, though. They suck at everything. And she touches his arm, and he's like, ah! And then she falls back to talk with Loial for a little bit. Rand is simultaneously relieved and bummed. He turns around to stare at her talking to Loial, and he's all ratted off for some reason that she's far away from him. And he reminds himself that he loves Egwene, but man, Selene is beautiful and thinks he's a lord and says he could be a great man, and he has an argument with himself about it for a bit, and then he just sulks. He keeps an eye on the road to make sure that none of the Grolm are going to come fuck with them. Nobody else is paying attention because they're all wrapped up with Selene. The mountains are drawing closer, and then suddenly Loial's beside him like, she says you're right about this place, and he looks around and Selene is riding with Hurin, who's grinning like a fool and kissing ass, and he's like, what do you mean? And Loial's like, she knows a ton about history and shit, and apparently back in the day, I studied these worlds, these alternate worlds, and that's how I came up with the ways. And he goes on to explain that there are a bunch of alternate realities. This one is pale because it was very unlikely to have ever happened, but there are others that are almost as real as the prime reality, and with all the same people and shit, and you could actually go there and meet yourself and whatnot.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. And Rand's like, how the fuck does she know all that? And Loyal's like, she's Carrie Ennen. They have badass libraries there. The Aiel deliberately didn't burn their library down when they attacked it because they won't destroy books. And Rand's like, I don't give a fuck about Aielman. If she's so smart, I hope she knows how to get the fuck out of here. I wish Selene. And then all of a sudden she's like, you wish Selene what? And Rand's like, I wish Selene would ride with me some more, which is objectively pretty fucking smooth. Loyal laughs at him and falls back. They ride in silence for a while, and Rand gets all up in his feelings, trying to sort out what Selene's deal is, if Moraine sent her to keep an eye on him, and thinking about how she's so beautiful and intelligent and well-educated, and what else could a guy want in a wife? And it's like, Jesus, dude, pump the brakes for a second. Fuck. He and Selene make some small talk about his good shot killing the Grom, and he explains about how Tam taught him about the flame and the void. Selene calls it the oneness, and she says that if you wrap yourself in it all the time, you can get real good at using it. And he thinks about the queasy light in there and is like, I'll think about it. And she pushes the issue, saying that if he wears it all the time, he'll find uses for it he never expected. And he's like, look, I said I'd think about it. And he goes on to ask her how she knows all this shit when Loyal doesn't even know it, and Loyal has read like 1 million books. Selene gets her sass on and is like, I read it in a book called Mirrors of the Wheel. Loyal hasn't seen every book that exists. She keeps calling Loyal Alantin, and Rand starts to ask her what that's all about, but she cuts him off and points out the portal stone that she came through from. Rand asks Hurin about the trail, and it's getting fainter, but it's still there, and it seems to be heading toward the Kinslayer's dagger. Selene is like, it'll only take an hour, and then you can send me home, come on. And Rand's like, I have to follow the horn. And she's like, how do you even know it's here? Come with me, I promise you'll find your legend. And Rand is starting to get pissed off about all the legend stuff, and he's like, you can use the stone yourself, it didn't bring you here all on its own. And she's like, I don't know what I did to make it happen. And he looks at her, and she's regal, but soft, proud but vulnerable. He'd initially thought she was Nynaeve's age, but now she seems closer to his own age, and she's beautiful, and she needs him, and she's basically playing him like a fucking fiddle. Like, dude, wake up. He doesn't want to use the portal stone because that means using the power, and he's like, stay with me. We'll go back after we found the horn and dagger. Selene seems close to losing her temper, but gets herself under control, and she's like, you're always so stubborn. Well, I can admire that. There isn't much to a man who's easy to boss around. And Rand blushes at this and thinks about how it's kind of like the stuff Egwene used to say to him, since they'd been all but officially engaged since they were kids, and she knew him really well. But hearing that kind of talk from Selene is kind of a shock, because, like, she's talking to him like he's somebody that she's known for a long time, and obviously that is not true. Then they hear a grunt behind them, and before they can turn to look, there are more Grom. There are 5 of them after that. Selene's like, oh, Grom. It's a small pack, but apparently they have our scent. And thus endeth the synapses.
So, I don't really have any notes for that, but can we say who on first reading I thought this was? Can we say who Selene is, or that's supposed to be a big shock?
I mean, I feel like that's technically
at this point, it's not a shock.
Okay. No, it's not a shock. I don't think it's a shock, but, like, I feel like it's fine to say who we kind of thought it was to begin with. Because if we both thought it, it seems like other people probably thought it.
Can I ask you a question? Yes. And this is non-spoiler.
Yeah.
Did you have a clue when you were first reading this who you thought this girl was?
Yes. I had an inkling.
Did your clue that you thought end up being right later when you find out who Selene is?
Yes.
So upon your first read through of this, reading this chapter, not knowing anything, were you like, oh, I think this girl might be blank?
Yes. And
then later you're like, oh, it's exactly who I thought it was all along?
Yes.
Because I had the same exact thought. Mm-hmm. For my first read through.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a secret, but I don't think the reader's supposed to be... I think the reader's supposed to guess that.
I feel like the reader is supposed to guess it. So I feel like we can say who we guessed it was.
Because if you and I both independently at different times thought that reading our first read through, Okay, first of all, Celine knows too much. She's
Mm-hmm.
not just a random person that appears in
Yeah.
this mirror world where literally nothing is living. And it's a mirror world where the Trollocs have won instead of Arthur Hawkwing.
Mm-hmm.
And here she is, this a woman in distress, but she has all these powers and heals Rand's
Well,
hand.
but
And
here's the thing: she
but
insists.
she hates Aes
Yeah.
Sedai.
So, but we also have to think. Okay, this woman is dressed all in white. Let's remember that in two different villages, Ingtar was losing his damn mind because he thought he saw a woman in white in the buildings in two of the villages that they stopped at.
This is
Hurin thought he saw a woman in the brush like a mile away from them.
Yeah.
And then Egwene, when she had that dream,
Right.
she saw a woman, I believe she said it was a woman in white, standing over Rand while he was sleeping in that, like, hollow in the hill before he disappeared.
This woman in white has already been publicized to kind of be on their shit. And now all of a sudden, she's around this evil creature. Right? And she knows all about the Grom. Like, she knows what they are. She knows what the portal stones is.
She knows how to kill them.
World.
And so then she comes in and she's like, okay, well, I'm not an Aes Sedai. Aes Sedai are fucking stupid. But then she takes his hand, which, okay, think about it. Think about any time you've gotten a burn, even a really small burn. Like you accidentally hit your arm against the side of a cookie sheet that's just come out of the oven. And it hurts. It's swollen and it's red and it's angry and it hurts. And it takes a long time to heal it. And it doesn't matter what the fuck you put on it. It doesn't stop hurting. No. But she takes his burnt ass hand, his whole hand, branded. It was so hot that it branded a heron into his palm. She put some fucking ointment on it and then it calms down and looks like it's been healed for like however long.
Yeah, and
that's
she knows
not a
about
fucking
all the
ointment.
Different. She knows about all the different ways and calls loyal this ancient word that she knows about. And she's read all these quote unquote books. And she ended up being in this world she doesn't know how. She's insanely beautiful. Can we say who she is? I mean,
let's just fucking say it.
I don't care, guys.
Like, I don't think it's that much of a spoiler. If you haven't figured it out by now, you will soon. Selene is Lanfear.
Selene is Lanfear. She's one of the Forsaken. So for those of you who haven't read the books yet, you have heard of her already.
You've heard it here
She's
first.
called the daughter of the night, one of the Forsaken. Okay, so you have those ugly guys, those guys that Rand burned to a crisp at the end of the last book, which was Bathamael and Agenor,
whatever.
But there's 11, I think.
13. There's 13 Forsaken.
Thank you. Forsaken. And Lanfear was considered beautiful and the ex-lover of Lews Therin before he found his wife Elena that he burns in the prologue. So, along with the rest of his family.
And Lanfear is among the most powerful of the Chosen.
Lanfear is among the most powerful.
She's powerful as fuck.
Just under Ishamael. She's the second most powerful. So, she's Lanfear. So, you found a beautiful seductress who is obviously flirting, and he's like, but what gives it away is she goes, "You're always so stubborn," and I'm like, "Always so stubborn." Like
how the fuck do you know me?
She said that canon in the book of that you're always so stubborn.
And like, what the fuck does she know about him and him being stubborn?
Always so stubborn. Yeah, no, that's Lanfear.
Yeah,
she sees Lews Therin and Rand.
Yeah,
so. Who was once her lover.
Yes.
A long time ago. So.
She didn't take it well when he broke up with her. So.
Did not take it. That's an understatement.
No, that's sort of. I mean, honestly, it's a very kind of.
Wow.
It's a very kind of fatal attraction kind of situation that Lanfear and Lews Therin have going on there. Like, it's not good.
Yeah.
So, So her ass shows up, and it's really transparent what it is that she's trying to do. She's not that subtle. But Rand is an idiot. So he doesn't really understand what it is that she's trying to do.
I just want to thank Robert Jordan for his writing here, because as a girl reading this, it really gave some insight as to what young inexperienced man. He wrote from, because Robert Jordan was an older gentleman when he wrote this. He wrote very well what an inexperienced young man feels around a flabbergastingly beautiful woman, like one of the first you ever meet, and you're unequipped to handle your emotions of the opposite sex, and you may still be a virgin, and that whole awkwardness, he did that very well.
Yeah.
He wrote that those skipping emotions of Rand wanting to feel great and over pompous and powerful, but then Rand's natural logic coming back in and going, what the fuck, why are you acting this way?
Yeah.
He wrote that very, very well.
Yeah, he really did. And I mean, I feel like Rand really, to a large extent, showed more self-awareness in those moments than a lot of men his age probably would. Like, I'm thinking about what Matt would have done in that situation, and Matt would have just, like, he would have just dropped Trow and been like, what's up? Like,
drop Trow. I love he said that. Chris says that too. That's so great. I'm like, drop Trow. That's what he would have, yeah.
He would have been like, dropped his pants, dick out, like, hey girl, what's up?
Dick out, full Florida.
That's a new saying. You're going full Florida. Matt would have gone full Florida.
Full Florida. Not full frontal, yes, but also
full Florida. That's the new term.
But that's it. But honestly, like, he did very well because of getting his natural thought processes come into play. Like, you see that right in the very first chapter of the first book. Rand is logical compared to his two friends. He's like brr, like he tries to shake himself out of it like a wet dog. That's what he literally tries to do. But Jordan wrote that, I think, very well. As a girl, it's kind of funny to watch, or to read rather, how the opposite sex feels around someone of your gender that finds them attractive and doesn't know what to do, and like going through that whole reading experience. I'm like, so this is what these kids felt when they were like 15, 16, trying to like talk to other girls or whatever. It's funny kind of when you read that.
Yeah.
But
I think you're right. I think he did a really good job writing that, and it's so just classic.
So in a way, we kind of gave a spoiler for a first, but it's not a spoiler. He writes it to where obviously Selene is not Selene, and the reader knows this. Like, and he's brought up Lanfear before several times. He's already talked about the Forsaken being loose. You've already killed two of them at the end of book one. I mean, that's not a surprise now. It's Lanfear. It's Lanfear.
Yeah, it's Lanfear. And Lanfear. I mean, it's
a question.
It's
because I thought that in my first read through. Obviously, it wasn't Selene. I'm like, this is this one Forsaken they talk about being like really, really pretty or whatever. Like, I didn't remember her name exactly, but I'm like, that's her. Like, that's what I thought, and it was her. So
yeah, I think she's been introduced. I feel like we know enough about her that it's very easy.
I'm confident giving that away at this point in time.
I don't think that's...
Because I'm not going to be like, oh, Selene did this. Like, because otherwise the other option for us would be, oh my God, don't you feel sorry for Selene? Like, being out there alone with these Grom, and that's so crazy that she knows so much. Like, you and I would have to have a whole different diatribe about her right now. And that would just be hamming it up.
Yeah, I think that
for our flavor,
there's been
there's
been enough information, I think, introduced about Lanfear that it's
I'm like,
I mean, if we figured it out, probably plenty of other people figured it out as well, and if they didn't, well, surprise, now you know.
Yeah, because on my first read through, I'm like, wait a minute, like, yeah, it was too obvious. But and I also think Jordan wrote that well, because I think he wanted the reader to automatically be very suspicious of this woman, and may start doing some research into things that you've already learned.
Well, just the other day, like 2 days ago, somebody tweeted about this Selene woman being shady as fuck, and I'm like, yeah, she is shady as fuck. She's 100% shady as fuck. So,
like, I was doing some research on that from jumping off the bat into the, because okay, so you're into book 2. You've already read the Eye of the World. You're a part of the way through book 2, getting into this. Like, you're committed at this point, right? You're committed. So they're big ass books, and you've already read through one, and you're part of the way through two. Come on, you're at least somewhat committed
Yeah,
for sure.
you know what's up.
And you're like, you're in this world. You've committed to it. You're like, okay, this is not. Obviously, this woman is not who she seems.
She is not an
Obviously,
actual damsel in distress.
Yeah, no, something's going on.
Well, and I mean, yeah. Rand, and going back to Rand's sort of whole logical, he pays attention to the things that are happening around him. He notes the fact that she doesn't run as soon as the Grome's attention is pulled away from her. She doesn't seem scared. She seems super calm the whole time. Even after she's been
she knows how to kill a Grome.
Yeah, she knows how to kill it.
As soon as Rand comes up on her, having the Grome try to attack her, she goes, "Shoot for the central eye. That's the only way you kill a Grome."
Yeah, and it's sort of like, okay.
And then he does, and then she doesn't even step around it. She just kind of looks at it, and walks up to him, and is like, "Oh, very well
hey,
shot.
What's up? You did a great job."
No.
It's like
that's no.
Yeah, she does not act like a person who has been traumatized by being cornered by a terrifying animal.
And she's not even dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Like her dress is perfectly white and spotless.
Who the hell walks around in all white all the time? Give me a fucking break.
Fucking break. Out in the middle of the woods. Calm your tits.
Calm your tits. What are you doing? No.
Yeah, it's all it's fuckery. Yeah, it's 100% it's false fuckery. News. It's false news. Yeah.
False fuckery is what it is.
So that's the end of that chapter.
Mm-hmm. So let's go on to your chapter. This is where shit really starts to get lit.
Well, it's very short, and
it's good though.
It's iconic at the end because of something that happens. But
and it's sort of the rest of the pieces here start to fall into place, and these two chapters are very good.
Yeah, I think so because it's not expositional. It's like, okay, this things happen. You get introduced to Lanfear, and then my chapter. So, chapter 17, choices. They think about running from the pack of Grolm first, but Selene says that once Grolm have your scent, they won't stop following the trail day and night until they run you down. Even though Rand needs the portal stone to get home, he doesn't want to use it and wants to kill the whole pack instead. Selene's making sense, go to the portal stone. We have to go there anyway to leave this world. And he's thinking to, and he knows he has to eventually go there to leave because they're going to run out of food at least.
They need to get out of there eventually.
And he's like, no, I want to kill, fuck you, Rand. You don't even know where you're going to encounter at the other portal stone. Try to at least get to your destination. Okay, whatever. So he goes toward a low hill to set up position with his bow. Huron gets his short sword ready, and the Ogier grips his quarterstaff. Rand counts he has 18 arrows with chiseled points to break through Trellick armor. He wants to do this foolish fighting and embraces the void, cutting out what the others are going to say. The Grolm run forward in leaps, and they're leathery and triple-eyed, as we know. I always look at them like three-eyed huge frogs in my mind, because that's how they're written. Rand kills one with the central eye shot from his bow, and another of the Grolm stops running to turn around and start eating his dead Grolm comrade, cannibal style. Literally.
That's savage.
Rand kills one, and one of the Grolm turns around and starts eating the one Rand freshly kills. Nice. Of course Rand kills them all, and he's such a cool guy that doesn't need to look at explosions. He starts putting the arrows he didn't use back in the quiver before making sure his last shot went through an eye. He knew as he loosed his last shot that it would hit true. It doesn't even need to look to make sure that it hits. Really? He literally doesn't even break a sweat. Rand touches his brow. It's cool. He's cool. It's badassery for the damsel in distress. That is how the Sidene do. There are more Grolm that bark out, and Selene is like, you can't kill them all. Which point, she has a point.
She's not wrong.
After Rand goes he's gonna try to kill them all, like Pokemon, gotta catch them all, he's gonna kill them all. So he's like, you can't fucking do that, bro. You have 6 arrows left. Shut up. They have to get to the portal stone. So Selene leads them through treacherous mountain passes, hounded by the Groms, calls behind them, the horses slipping in showers of stone and earth that give way underfoot in the high passes. They do, however, make it to the portal stone, and Selene says that Rand must be the one that brings them back home. She touches one symbol on the stone, a little larger than the others, and says that that's the one that brings them back to the real world. Like, that's another reason why I said she's Lanfear, because Selene, who didn't know how she got there by taking a nap, as her story was last chapter, and wakes up in this world, how would she know that that particular inscription is what brings them back home?
And like I said, she is 100% just too
no
transparent. Like, she's not even doing a good job.
No,
which,
she doesn't want to do it.
Honestly, it's fair. She's dealing with a bunch of idiot adolescents. She's dealing with an idiot adolescent, basically a peasant, and an Ogier who's seen basically nothing. So,
yeah.
I mean, I get it, girl.
She thinks, Selene's not sure, but she just kind of believes that Rand needs to focus on the real world while touching this one hieroglyph, and it could transport them back to where they need to be. Like, I'm not only do I know this is the one hieroglyph you need to touch out of all the ones that are like encased around the stone backwards and front, it's that one, and I believe you have to think about the real world in order to get you there. It's fucking
That's some really interesting info that you have there for somebody who has no idea how she got here.
I cannot. We cannot even process this chapter talking about. I wonder how Selene knew that. Like, I can't.
No, I mean, there's like really, we would just be sitting here like, wow, it's weird that she knew all those things, and that's it.
No, I'm not doing that. No, it's so unfair. So this is kind of like the movie Speed, where there's a clock ticker countdown.
Got blinders onto the world. What do you do, Jack? What do you do?
Right.
I fucking love that movie.
I love that movie too. So it's like the movie Speed, where there's like a clock ticker countdown for Rand to save them, except the sound of the Grom is moving closer, and that's the clock ticker, and Rand is slipping as he searches in his mind through the taint of the source to find Saidin and grapple with it as he desperately hopes to save them all. So, I mean, of course he has to get them back, because you have the whole packs of Grom calling or beaking or whatever the fuck noise they make. That's not even a sound. That's not even a word. It's not even a verb. Well, it's not even anything.
You want to know what's really interesting? What's really interesting is I've told you about that show Letterkenny that I like to watch.
Yes.
And so there's this whole storyline in the first season where Wayne has not been fighting for the last 5 years because his long-term girlfriend Angie didn't like him fighting, so he didn't fight. Well, Angie cheats on him, they break up, and so now Wayne wants to be the toughest guy in Letterkenny again, and so he needs to fight all these other guys who claim to be the toughest guy in Letterkenny, and one of them, after it's done, they're like, what a fucking beaker. He wouldn't stop beaking, because, the guy was talking shit the whole time. He was a beaker.
Oh! He's a beaker. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad that that's been used in some other context.
So that's a thing, at least in Ontario, Canada.
Good. Okay, good. But I really actually care, because I still make my own words up. Anyway, no, I'm glad that someone actually did. So, I mean, obviously Rand has to do it, because otherwise the plot isn't gonna progress as the Dragon Reborn gets eaten by Grom in some other world. So, he has to do that. So, as you're reading, that obviously it's going to happen. So, through the blink of an eye, Rand feels the world flicker. The triangle shape that he's touching on the stone, representative of the real world that he's trying to channel them all to, is burning. He's screaming with pain, and here comes the montage. It's very famous. This is a book too, and everybody still talks about this. At the end of A Memory of Light, which is the last book 14. Here's the flicker, flicker, flicker sequence. The worlds are starting to merge, and everything is flicker, 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 flicker. So it's like Rand is blinking in and out of this world and traveling to the old world, and it's like flicker, 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 flicker. The way he writes it is just, it's very iconic.
Uh-huh.
It's a very iconic sequence.
Agree.
Suddenly Rand is looking at Selene and she's giving him the confident smile. And she's like, you didn't even know what you did, but you brought us all home, even the horses. So, of course, Rand did it because, again, the plot could not be carried forward if he did not.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in a hollow, and the stone, on the portal stone in their real world, the one that they came to, lays half buried in a mountainside under the loose rock of a fall. The symbols in the real world are unclear. Water and wind and time have worn away the etchings. The hollow had suspiciously smooth, big boulders that were painted in different colors, like the 7-colored stairs that led away from the portal stone on the other world. All of the colors here were like they should be, however, strong and vivid. They're all happy at coming back to home. Selene says Rand's destined for great things, and Rand thinks about kissing her, then asks her not to tell anyone about the stone. He also thinks, of course, that Perrin or Mat should be there because they know how to talk to women. Again, one of the boys cute. Of the three, so the other two could talk to women better than I can. It's a constant thing, guys.
Yeah.
So she promises to keep his secret. Huron needs to find the trail again. There's only an hour left till twilight, however, so they have to make camp. And Selene does not want to go back to home to Carrion just yet. She wants to find the Horn of Valere with these dudes. She wants to put her hands on it, like she has previously stated before. And she wants the adventure, or so she says. She says Huron cannot find the trail on this world because he was sniffing where the Dark Friends would be on the other world. So passing in that alternate world put them ahead of the trail of the Dark Friends. They've popped out on the other side, back onto their world, knowing where the Dark Friends would be in perhaps days to come. So they can wait out their quarry. That's why Huron's trail leading had been strong before, but then faint. He never lost the trail per se. He just started following a future trail of what would be in that other world versus a non-existent trail that hasn't happened yet in this one.
Which, like, what the fuck?
So by going into the alternate world, it actually makes sense because they pop out back on the other side, and because time flows differently in that possible alternate universe they found Selene in, they came out ahead of where they know that the Dark Friends trail is going to eventually lead them, so they can plan an ambush and wait. So that's kind of what's going on. So that's why Huron was confused, and that's why he could follow the trail in the other world. But in this one, he lost it, and he goes, I can lead in the direction, but then Selene, because Selene, again, this is I'm glad we brought the fact that it was Lanfear in the previous chapter, because it would be really hard to explain how Selene knew over everyone else that, we popped out ahead of them. Like, how would a carrying and reading books in a library know that she popped out ahead of a Dark Friend trail that she didn't even know they were following when she found them? Like, no. It's Lanfear. Yeah. So her pointing this out bothers Huron because he doesn't like the fact that he can sniff something that hasn't happened yet. But it makes sense, and they all go to make camp. Thus endeth chapter 17, choices.
So, yeah.
So Rand gets ahead of the Dark Friends so he can prepare for getting the Horn of Valere and the dagger back, which is good. But the bad flip side of the coin is he brought Lanfear to this world. Because she may have been trapped in that alternate universe after she got released from Shale Ghul, because that's where all the Forsaken were bound. It didn't it didn't necessarily guarantee that Lanfear would pop back in this reality. So maybe she got released in her beautiful form that she had at the Age of Legends, but maybe she got released in a different universe. Maybe the Dark One did that to her as a cruelty. And Rand saved her from those Grom, which actually wasn't saving her, it was a setup.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because of Rand, because she needed Sidene to go through the portal stone, and she's not a guy, so she can't channel Sidene. She needed Rand to be there to bring. So now Rand has essentially brought the second strongest Forsaken single-handedly into their present world.
That's a really interesting theory. It hadn't occurred to me that
Rand is responsible for bringing Lanfear back into the world.
Yeah, it hadn't occurred to me that she didn't come out in, like, just, you know, the normal universe.
But maybe it didn't occur to me because you said that they had already found that woman in white at the other villages and they ran to it and didn't find her. So maybe she followed them from their other villages and came to that world. I don't know how she could have done it without channeling Sidene to use the portal stones.
Well, here's the other thing. If you think about it, the portal stones were built in the Age of Legends where both men and women were able to freely wield the one power. So I always was working under the assumption that it didn't matter whether you channeled Sidene or Sidar. If you were able to channel, you could use a portal stone. You didn't have to have a specific one, and you didn't have to have both.
Oh, so I stand corrected.
Well, and I'm not saying that that's how it is. That's the impression I had.
That's how Jordan wrote it, canon. So what you're saying makes more sense because there was a woman in white, like you said, that they tried to find in the villages that hitherto up to this point it's still a mystery of who was that other woman.
Right.
Okay. And then if Jordan wrote it to where, obviously, because I remember you saying Age of Legends, they still didn't know everything about the portal stones, and Loyal's only description was Aes Sedai that could use them. He didn't differentiate whether Aes Sedai could be male or female. So maybe, like you said, it could be both. That makes more sense. Okay. I that makes more canonically sense than what I just suggested.
Yeah, because I feel like Lanfear is there. She is obviously trying to manipulate things to get Rand to embrace his destiny, and she wants to insinuate herself as a sort of trusted person. Because obviously she's got a hard-on for Lews Therin, who was also the Dragon Reborn, so, you know, they're sort of the same person, I guess. But, yeah. I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you.
It's just sitting there. And now it's gone.
Get it, girl.
I guess it's not happening.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, that's these chapters, I guess.
So they made it back to their world because, of course, plot, they have to.
Yeah. Obviously, they can't stay there forever.
They can't dick around in that world that nothing moves and whatever forever. Like, you have to get back to the real world. And it actually makes sense of why they were there, because they had to get ahead of the Dark Friends, because obviously the Dark Friends could slip away from them, and they needed to be able to retrieve possibly the dagger. At this point, the Horn of Valere is kind of necessary. Matt's dagger is going to necessary unless he's going to die, and he's Ta'Veren. So as a reader, you're thinking going into this, they have to find it. I mean, they have to find them. I don't know how they're going to find them or how long it's going to take, but eventually, you know, in order to move the story along, they have to do this. It's not even a question. So anyway.
Yup. That is accurate.
But I think that's kind of the end of it. There's nothing really to discuss.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead and wrap this shit up. I mean, it's a pretty short chapter. We could do next time in the White Tower.
Yeah, let's do next time in the White Tower.
All right.
Okay, so.
Next time on the White Tower podcast.
Area women are on a motherfucking boat. Local wisdom wants to shank a bitch.
Yeah. Mood.
My kind of town, Tarvalin is.
Ooh, I'm excited about hearing about yours. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Mine next time in the White Tower is she's got legs. She knows how to use it.
I love that. That's so good.
We're both singing.
Yeah, I know. We both had musical interludes for our next time in the White Tower.
Indiana Jones in the Temple of Dagger.
Bitch.
I'm going to get you, my pretty, and your little horn, too. Those are my next times in the White Tower.
Dude, bitch, that was
You're
lit.
welcome, Rob.
Well done.
Thank you. I like yours, too. So, yeah, I guess we can wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
And, have a good weekend.
Yeah, we did all of our Patreon plugging earlier in the show, so we don't have to worry about that. So, if for some reason you do not know where to find us on the internet, I will tell you where to find us on the internet. You can find us on social media, Facebam? I think I was conflating in
I think
Facebook
that's accurate.
and Instagram.
That's accurate. That's accurate.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find us at White Tower Pod. Our website is whitetowerpodcast.com. You obviously can find the show on any place where you get your fine podcasts. We're on like literally every app.
Everyone.
What else
you,
do
Jess.
we need to plug? I have had a moderate amount of whiskey and I have forgotten everything I know.
No, that's about it.
We have a
I really don't
Discord.
think there's much.
We have an amazing Discord where we talk about the Wheel of Time and many other things. We've got some great people in there. So if you would like to if you are not an asshole and you would like to join us, you can find us at bit.ly/White Tower Discord. And going back to the huge talk we had about all of our Patreon stuff earlier in the show, if you like what we're doing and you would like to support us, it would be amazing. And you can do that at patreon.com/whitetowerpod. If you are not able to do financial contributions, that's totally cool. And fucking, we get it. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I was broke off my ass. So, like, I get it.
It's hard.
It's really hard. So, the best thing that you can do for us in any case is rate, review, and subscribe to us on whatever platform you're able to do it. If it's iTunes, that's great. I think you can do it on Spotify. There are a couple of other podcast apps that you can do it on. If you're not able to do it on your podcast app, you can recommend us on Facebook, and that's really helpful as well. Is there anything else that we need to communicate to our beloved audience at this time?
I don't believe so. I think we covered a lot of that at the beginning of the episode.
We covered
to
a
be
lot
honest with
today. Great. So I guess that's everything that we have for you all tonight. On behalf... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Nope, I was going to do what you were doing.
On behalf of everyone here at the White Tower, we thank you very much for listening. And we love you very much. And you're doing a great job.
I love you, Jess.
Love you, Jen. Bye.
Bye.